Let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Jeremias JMan Maneiro with JMan Speaks, coming to you live and direct from our world headquarters here in the Rock. That's the ROC. And we don't stop. And we're bringing you ATEAM Fridays, Ask the Experts, Anything Meaningful Fridays. Today, we're talking about virtual assistants. Boost your productivity, unleash the potential of virtual assistants in your business. Doesn't have to be real estate life, your life in general. And I brought one of my very good friends coming to us from Chi-Town with the second best pizza in the U.S. It's just different. Let's give a round of applause for Sabrina Bier. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for waking up a little early, being on with us. I know it's 8 o'clock your time, but you're an early riser.
I am. Thanks for having me. I'm not quite as early as you, but I am an early riser.
Well, why don't you quick introduce yourself to the folks that may not know you?
All right. Hi, everybody. Again, thanks for having me. My name's Sabrina Bier. I'm over here in Chicago. I have been a licensed realtor since 2005. I went through that whole thing, and really cool is about like pivoting your business. So I went into real estate without a life vest. The market dropped, and then I started finding what the next thing was, which was short sales and foreclosures at the time. A lot of people were scared of it. I learned it. I did it. I built my whole business, then got all these referrals thereafter. Then I pivoted again because I moved from being a full-time top producing real estate broker to I work for a title insurance company called Proper Title, which is a local Illinois and Indiana, but we're moving nationwide title insurance company. So I started with them when they started, and now we're 10 years old. Still hold my license still. So I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm the director of digital media and education for Proper Title.
Excellent. Well, we're glad you're here. A lot of experience across the industry in many different ways. And I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Illinois. I always thought it was Illinois till Carrie Jo Little and I one time were on a live stream. And she goes, CJ, man, that's how people don't know or how they know that you're not from Illinois because we don't say the S. And I was like, well, why is there's an S? I'm trying to enunciate all of my words and syllables. And she's like, nope, it's Illinois. So Illinois and Indiana and Proper Title. I think one time I heard you doing a live stream and you were like, was it a proper live stream or something it was called?
Proper
Yeah.
live.
I'm like, you know what people say, like, that was like UK, I think might be the way where they would say it. Like, that was a proper live that you did there, but you're like, no, Jay, it's the company Proper Title. So glad you're here. And I think this topic came about because we were talking, like we hear this from agents all the time, right? Like, I feel like I'm overworked. I need help. I can't afford to hire somebody in-house, like a full-time position. Where do I even begin with virtual assistants? What do you hear out there? Because Chicago's just as busy as New York, but I think all cities, big and small, are busy. Agents are overworked and underpaid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily underpaid if they're efficient about the way that they do
Right.
their business.
Correct.
Um, so yeah, the same thing. A lot of people want help with their social media or their marketing in general, but they don't even know where to start. Like they don't know what they should even start doing. Like, oh, okay, well, J-Man does this show. I should do a show. Or
Right.
so-and-so's got 15,000 Instagram followers. I should do that. Or so-and-so's dancing on TikTok. I should do that. And I think they don't even know like where to start. The number one key I would say is where to start is literally look at your database of people and figure out where they are, right? Like, how do you
Yeah.
stay in front of people? And then that will grow into more people, right? So some people, it might be YouTube or Facebook or whatever, all the platforms.
Yeah. Well, I almost think like the example you're giving is like the cat with the laser. Like, over here, no, over here. Why are you chasing that? I don't know. I don't know why. I think it's good. I think it's the next thing that I should be doing. Right. Well, when do you think, I guess the first thing we could talk about is like recognizing the need. Like if you're an agent or you're a business person, salesperson watching this and you feel overwhelmed. Like for me, I knew it was time when I felt like I was missing things. Like things were falling through the cracks, right? Like I'm busy, but I don't even know what I'm missing, so I'm not missing it. Right? Would you agree? Or
Yeah, I agree, right? And when we talk about, I just mentioned we mentioned like social media, but I mean, forget the social media, get the operations of your business down first, right? When I was selling real estate, I was not somebody that like listing paperwork and the paperwork stuff was so not my jam.
I hate it. I still
So
hate it.
that was the first person I hired. I'm like, you just do the paperwork for me so I
Yeah,
can focus on things I'm really good at, which is building relationships, marketing, selling real estate. Like that's the stuff I was really good at. So I think that's where you first find the need. Like you said, when you're missing something, when you're not doing something at the exceptional service that you're telling your clients you provide,
right.
right? That's when you need to get somebody to come in, figure out what you don't do well, and have somebody come and do that thing so you can focus on the stuff you do very, very well.
Yeah, like, quick example, we both do a fair amount of video, and, like, I found one day I was timing myself for things, and this is gonna go into our next topic of, like, journaling, but, like, I spent an hour and a half creating a thumbnail for a video, a live stream that I did that took 30 minutes, and I'm like, but I get crazy into the details sometimes where I'm like, "No, it's not good enough. I have to keep." It's not the highest and best use of my time.
No, especially because I mean, how many views does an actual thumbnail get, right?
Right.
No, I do the same thing, so I get it, and I think you're right. I think, we'll talk about kind of time, but what are you really spending your time on? Because same thing, even if it's, you have this idea, for instance, this show, right? How much time does it take you every week to promote the show if you did it all on your own, right? And for a hour long show or however long it is, like what's the time there and what's your reward, right?
Right.
For you and I, a little bit different. We're not like our everything role is not just transactions, right? Is
Right.
so we have more time, or we can justify more time to do certain things. But if you are a full-time realtor, like you should, and you are busy enough, you should really, I think, spend some time figuring out what those tasks are that you could use help for and see if it makes sense for you financially. It might not make sense for everybody. I think that's key too.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to find a seller that hired you because you were really, really good at putting in that listing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, no, you won't. If you list with us today, you don't know how skillful I am at creating public remarks. I will. Like, but agents, it's some of those things where they don't want to let go. They're like, no, no, nobody can do it like me. I'm like, are you serious? It's like inputting. My 12-year-old can go input the button, and we have AI now. It should be an AI powered agent, but that'll be another conversation for a different day. Where that's helping you to maximize your efficiency.
Yeah, well,
And
that's right, to grow,
yeah,
maximize what we're.
well, and like you're saying, your time is best spent with clients, either clients or lead generation, right? Either
Yeah.
service or meeting new people or networking. Like that's your skill. You're the face of your business. All the rest of the administrative stuff you should delegate.
Well, and I also think I'll just say this because I know that one of the biggest struggles for realtors is kind of work-life balance, and they laugh like, "What's that? You can't have that." And I disagree, right? So the things that you're talking about right now, everything that you just said, well, it's also like making the time for your family, right? So instead of at night, during dinner when you're trying to see your family or watch a movie or a TV show with your family, you're creating these things that somebody else can do, right? So I think that that's super important to avoid lifelong burnout. Like I really do.
Yeah, and it's the ever elusive work life balance. I always think of it like a teeter totter, where like you're here for a second, just a second, and then you do a little bit more work, and now your life goes down a little bit. Oh, I got to spend more time with the family. Then maybe your work goes a little bit like this. So you're constantly trying to balance that. But and this is why, like I put it in the description, like it will be life changing when, instead of running home and spending, like you said, an hour and a half putting in a listing, or an hour, maybe you could do it quickly. Instead, I can go for a bike ride with my kids, or go swimming, or do something else that's like quality of life. Nobody at the end of their career, they're in their deathbed going, man, I wish I put in one more listing, Sabrina. I wish I did. I wish I made that thumbnail because nobody could do it like me. That's not going to be on your tombstone.
Yeah, no.
So how do you think they should start? I like the idea of a week of journaling, or a couple weeks. And by journaling, I mean like tracking your time. But uh, how do you think they should realize their inefficiencies? I guess that was pretty good. I came with.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. You know, when you just said that, I was like, you know what? I should probably reevaluate my time and I should probably journal for the next week or two just to see where the things are, because there have been so many new developments in AI that I guarantee you I have some places that I could substitute something in as well. But yeah, I think first is really identifying like your overall goal, right? So what is it that you want? Do you want more work-life balance? Are you looking to grow your business? Are you trying to grow a team? Like, are you trying to bring in a second income stream in some other form of real estate or whatever? Like, what is it that your goal is? I think you have to identify. I also think second is kind of what I said earlier, is you really need to look at your sphere of influence, like your CRM, your database, even if it's an Excel spreadsheet, which no shame, that's how I started. Um, Even if it's something like that, is to really look through it. By the way, if you are using an Excel sheet, you really should, number one, you should move over to a CRM system, please.
Yeah.
Um, because that's the only way it's going to grow. Not the only way, but the most efficiencies is what we're talking about, or inefficiencies. But really identify who your people are, right? And kind of where they land, what kind of job titles they have. Do they spend time on social media? Are you really kind of in one specific area or one specific niche? Like, what are the things? Because it might not make sense for you. Like, we talked about the assistant of like doing paperwork. But if we're talking about marketing, it might not make sense for you to create a TikTok channel or something like that if you are
Mm-hmm.
hyper super local to this one neighborhood, right? Maybe that's not a good use of your time. So really identify who your people are. Some of us, like, I did a lot of national referrals, so then it's a little bit bigger, right? So to identify who the people are. And then third, I would say, is exactly what you did, like time journaling. Give yourself the next week, 2 weeks, and really, like, it's no different than journaling your food to lose weight, right? It's the same thing. It's almost like losing weight. I mean, that's what we're talking about, kind of.
Totally. Yeah.
And
Losing
journal
tasks
out
that you don't need, basically. Trimming the fat from your business. That might be a good title for
the fat.
it. Uh,
But I mean, J-Man, what are you like? What are yours? I mean, you're great at this. What is your suggestion on kind of that time journaling? Like, what should people be really looking for?
well, I think a week is good. 2 weeks would be better. And just like, it's amazing when you start to track things, how you're holding yourself accountable. Just to use that same diet example, like, damn, I'm tracking my calories now. I can't have that brownie that somebody brought into the office. And it's the same thing, but you'll start to look at, because agents will go, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. And I go, oh, you are? What'd you do today? I got a new listing. Okay, and then what? Well, we had to design the flyers. And then what? We had to put the listing in. And then what? I talked to people at the office. And then what? Okay, and then when you start going through, like, if you do it at the end of the, I would say don't do it at the end of the week, because then you're gonna fluff your schedule and make it look better for yourself, for your own well-being. And this is like, you can't lie to yourself, right? This is for you and your business. And at the end of every day, go, okay, so today I put in a listing. It was this much time, but you know what? I had a 90-minute lunch with somebody that is not in my sphere, who's not going to send me business. That's not okay. And then I sat around and chatted with people about the Buffalo Bills for 45 minutes. And then truly, and if you look at that and you start looking at your time and going, okay, now if the CEO of your company, of your business, which is you, saw what you did today, would they fire you? Right? And like when you put it like that, like if the CEO came over and goes, hey, how was your lunch? Good. How long was it? 90 minutes. What did you do? Did you meet with the client? Nah, just went to this new barbecue joint. Okay, you're fired. Peace out. Okay. Go to the unemployment line because you're an independent contractor. You're not going to get unemployment. And so I think when you start to do that, then you're realizing, man, I went and got my laundry from or my dry cleaning. And then you know what? I had to go grocery shopping. I went and did that in the middle of my day. It's great. Real estate's great. Flexible schedule and limited income, but you have a flexible schedule, which means you have to hold yourself accountable to the things that produce income, because without income, you don't have a business. And so keep track of those things and say, okay, if I look at my schedule for the whole week, I go, what can I delegate? What can I truly get off my plate? And I bet it's 80% of the things that you're doing.
Right. Like what's income generating first, right? And what's not. And don't get me wrong, the grocery shopping's fine, but that's why you're going to journal for 2 weeks, right? Because some people grocery shop on Saturday, but you're working all day on Saturday, right?
Right.
So, right, what is income generating? And then what are things you really enjoy, right? Like, because you work-life balance,
Truly,
this thing
yeah.
we were talking about, right? And those are like, that's fine. Like, don't lie to yourself if you go and eat the brownie in the kitchen at the office. Like, write it down. So if you go take that 90-minute lunch, that's fine. But if you're doing that 2, 3, 4 times a week and those aren't income generating lunches, then you should reevaluate what you're doing. And then third is, I think a lot of times people, which is why I keep on going back to figure out who your target audience is, because I think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, is we're like, well, I just want to be doing. Like if I'm doing something, I feel like I'm building my business, but not everything is a right opportunity for you to build your business, right?
Right.
So yeah, you met this really nice person, right? And yes, everybody has a network that you can get to know, but if they know 5 other realtors that they're using all the time, their best friend's a realtor, why are you sitting down with them and having lunch, right? Like maybe just have a quick coffee or invite them to an event where you can talk to them amongst other people. Don't spend an hour and a half of your most valuable asset is your time. So how do you then delegate the time, right? Like, okay, I've been journaling for 2 weeks. I have a few things. For instance, for me, it would be listing paperwork. It would be
For sure.
update. Even accounting is not my thing.
Same.
Okay. This is so not my thing. So finding these places where you are spending a lot of time, or editing video. You know how long it takes most of us that are not video editors to be self-taught to edit video? When you can hire somebody that took you 3 hours, so much time people spend editing their reels that they put in that maybe 200 people look at, right? So.
Right. And you're looking at, why did I do that? I did that because I wanted people to like me and I wanted to feel good about myself and have better self-esteem. But it's called self-esteem. So if you feel good about yourself before you even post it, then it doesn't matter. You can delegate that to somebody else, right? Just delegate it.
Where's that sound effect? Like, where's that drop the mic sound effect?
But it's when I was able, you're still going to be the talent in front of the camera, right? We both agree on that. Like you have to be, you're the face of your business. But then when I release control and with my virtual assistant, it's like, she'll send me a text and say, hey, I need 12 silly faces for carousels. So I just literally, I'll get my phone out and I'll put it on like the 3-second timer. Right. And I'll do all these faces and then send it to her. And so rather than me going on Canva, going, disappear the background, chop it, and doing all this work, I can spend time with you doing this live stream, or I can meet with a client for lunch today, or do things that matter to my business. And I think it's realizing what's in your schedule as well, where you're working in your business rather than on your business. Like you're an employee for the company rather than being the CEO. And if you look at average agent, if you just take your commission and divide it by 100 hours, let's say you have into a transaction, like that's your what you should make per hour. Could be 100, could be 500, could be 1,000 per hour, depending on the market that you're in. And so then the other thing I tell agents is like, okay, look at your schedule and say, would you pay somebody $500 to do what you did in that hour? And if they're like, hell to the no, like, uh, then why are you paying yourself that? And they go, they go like this. This is right here. Crickets, right? Like, so what's the next steps? How do we get started? Because I think like if you're watching this, you probably already realize that you're there. But like, what do you think are some good first steps to getting started?
Well, I think that when you hire a virtual assistant, even if they are well versed in real estate, unless they are well versed in your market and understand you, I think the very first thing is you got to spend a little bit of time up front to save you tons of time later.
Right.
So you have to really identify like like you have to provide them the information. So if it's listing agreements, right? You need to train them on how you like your listing agreements done. Not agreements, but the
Yeah,
whole
like if you
paperwork.
use
Getting
certain clauses or remarks and that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then second, if it's like social media or whatever, you really need to explain what your brand is. So you, J-Man, might want a face that's like, I do not.
Right. Totally. Truly. Yeah.
Everybody, we all have these, to use a marketing term, brand personalities. And that's
Correct.
something
Yeah.
that, by the way, and I'm sure you've talked about many times to your audience, but like ChatGPT is great for identifying your brand personality based on the information you give it. It will identify exactly who you are.
I mean, it's so good, and especially if
So
you do video like we do, with the new like the Vox Script plugin, you have it watch one of your videos, it will give you the most in-depth brand voice and brand personality profile. You'll be like, "Wait, that is me! Oh my gosh, that's so." I'm informal. I use humor. I try, but I care about the people, and I'm like, this is like I wrote in my diary. This is so good. Yeah.
it's almost like a self-esteem booster
Yes.
because it's using words to describe you like, oh my God, I sound great.
Yes, I care about people. It realized that. Okay, I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Um,
And it's also validation for like if you are expressing yourself to the public the way that you think you're expressing yourself. Like if you want to be informal, but it's telling you that you're very formal and blah 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 blah. Well, then obviously you're not doing something right. And it's a really good way, by the way, to just kind of reevaluate if you're giving the message that you're looking for.
oh, this is good. Don't worry, Jessica Lynn and Billy. We're getting some comments here. I agree with Billy. I'd love to have a VA, but don't want to pay an arm and a leg when I technically could be doing it myself. Oh, we don't. You just wait, folks, because that's going to be right towards the second half of this, because it's the number one thing I hear. I can't afford it.
Nope, that's
Can't
it.
afford
Yep.
it. I can't. It's an
And if I
expense.
could be doing it myself.
Yes. Let's go right to it now. It came up, so I think it's. How do you feel about that, Sabrina? Because both of us, we use we do a lot of virtual things, pay people to do
Yeah.
things for us. What did
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the expense of a virtual assistant?
Well, I'll start by saying it takes money to make money, like first and foremost, right?
Hmm.
So although kind of the cost of something, and there's a huge range of, types of assistants, virtual assistants that you can pay for and how you pay for them and what they do and how much they do for you. So first of all, we're talking about a huge range. Um, But it, just like J-Man said a little bit ago, if you really think about how much you're making an hour, right? And if you're newer and you're building your business, a little bit different, but still, if it takes me 3 hours to edit a video and I still don't like it, and I then I end up not even posting it after trying to
Right.
edit it for
Right.
3 hours, it
You
just
leave it in
sits
your
in.
drafts. Right. I
Nah,
thought that
I've
was
never done
only
that.
me. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And you can hire somebody for whatever, a couple $100 to do that, and it's not, and to do multiples even for that amount of
Yeah.
money, that takes off so much time off your plate where you can actually be doing the income generating proper projects. Like, I think that's the biggest key, and you have to get that in your head first, or you won't buy into any of this.
Yeah.
What do
So
you?
here's what I would say to it, because this is one that I get quite often. There's two things that you spend money on: expenses and investments. The
Mm,
difference is an expense does not get you a return, an investment does, right? So would you invest X, let's say $100, to get back 5,000, 10,000, whatever your average gross commission income might be? Because in reality, what you're paying versus what you're losing, there's no comparison, right? If I could pay a, let's say if I was paying a couple $100 a week for a virtual assistant, or just tasks, because I think that's the next part: task based versus hourly, because some people think you have to pay them for 40 hours and they have to sit in your office. But um, paying per task, the money that you will make because you're spending time with clients. Because now uh, my income almost doubled when I got an assistant, because now I'm going like this. This is the mindset. I have somebody that I'm paying to do things. Let me give them more things to do because I'm paying them, right? And so now I'm going, okay, I got to do some prospecting. I got to do some door knocking. I got to go to this networking event because I need to create work for them. But in creating work for them, I'm also building business for myself. And you'll see, once you stop wasting your time on the tasks that make you no money, you're either your life's going to get better, your quality of life's going to get better, and or your business will make more money. I have not met an agent in my entire, I've been in the business 18 years, that after they hired an assistant or virtual assistant or somebody to do tasks or a transaction, that their business didn't go up.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And just like you said, like, you start thinking about other things that you could be doing, but it's also thinking about other things that they can be doing, right? Like,
Correct.
oh, I've always wanted to X, right? Have this whole after closing plan, and, implement these touch points after closing. You can have them do that. Like, there's so many things. Like, most realtors have an entrepreneurial mindset, like especially the ones that are doing well or going to be doing well. And when you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you're constantly thinking about how you can reach out to more people and make more money and do more things. And, like, you can't do everything. We're just
Right.
not capable of doing everything.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give a real life example. So let's say I had a Facebook group. Uh, we love Chicago, okay, or Chicagoland. Give me a neighborhood. Is Chicagoland outside of Chicago, right? Yeah. So let's say we love Chicagoland is my Facebook group. Now, I haven't had the time because I've been busy working in my business to actually be actively posting in this group. So the people are orphaned in a way. They're sitting there, they love Chicagoland, but they're not getting any love. And so now, because you freed up the time to master AI and GPT, you can now you've created 5 posts per day for the next 30 days specific to that group. Now, the time that you would take to post into that group, you don't need to take the time anymore, because you just take them, you put them in like a shared doc or a folder or whatever you want, and you send it to your VA and you say, hey, let's post, 5 of these a day, space them out a couple hours each in the group for the next 30 days. And now think of like the exponential growth your group will have, the engagement that will happen. I was on a Zoom yesterday with an agent out of Boca Raton. He's getting 15 to 20 leads from his Facebook group for Boca and it's like, it's like new to Boca Raton, something is the group. And so one of the questions he asked, like, you're new to, where did you move from? Are you buying or renting? Okay. Email. So now he's getting all these people, yes, looking to buy. Oh, ding, 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 ding. He runs the group. So because he has the time to work the business and generate leads and power himself with AI, and then the rest of like, there's no skill set involved in posting. Okay, no. But it gets done.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that like the whole AI powered agent or AI powered person or business is a whole nother conversation. But I want to go back to something that you said just to make sure everyone is very clear. If you love ChatGPT and you think it's super amazing, if you haven't tried it, then you got to do it. It's super easy.
You've been in a cave somewhere.
That's true. Somewhere. You haven't been watching this show, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But if you have, then you're going to be just like the rest of us, and you will have a ton of searches or conversations that you've already done. And you have all this information. I know I do as well. And so to do what JMan just said and to take those, put them in a Google Doc, send them to an assistant and be like, here is 20 pages worth of content. Can you create those into reels, posts, Facebook group, whatever it is that you do? They will spend, I don't know, a couple of hours and create almost a full month's worth of stuff that you can use to supplement even what you're already doing, because maybe you don't want it to just be that, right? That's fine. Let that be the consistency, right? Because that's what you need to grow. Let that be the consistency. And then you plug in your own stuff. If you want to just do a quick video or you want to do whatever, you do that in addition.
Oh, but wait, there's more. Okay. You do the quick video like we're doing. I immediately take this video and I'll upload it to a platform that makes shorts for me. Okay. Video.ai. If you haven't been watching, we've talked about that almost every week. It makes the shorts for me, but I'm not downloading and uploading and posting those. The VA is, right? But I could then I post it to YouTube. I take that link and I bring it into GPT and I say, write me a blog post for the video that I did. Boom, take that to the VA, post that. You know what? We talked about VAs. Now from this show, I'm going to create a guide on hiring your own virtual assistant. Copy, paste, create a guide, done. Okay, like it's limitless what you can do. Now, see, I'm getting excited. I wake up excited every day, but when I start, because when you start thinking like this, like the light bulb should go off. This should be an aha moment for you if you're watching this. Like, he's so right. She's so right. Like, you can kick ass with the technology that's out there and delegating to the right people and just lead a life worth living. Not like, oh, I'm stressed out. I got so much to do. Before I go to bed, I got to put in this listing. I got to order the flyers. I got to order the sign. I got to put the lockbox on tomorrow. If I don't forget, I got a sale pending sign on the other listing I got to put up. All these things that keep us awake at night. You know how I go to bed at night? I need a snoring sound effect now that I'm thinking about it, but sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Good. So that was exciting.
All right, that's the things that we want the virtual. We've identified the things that are time wasters. We know how to quickly provide the training to the virtual assistant. So I think the number one thing to that, well, maybe not number one, but one of the top 5 things that I hear people ask is, where do I get the virtual assistant from? Do I have to hire them? Like you said, do I have to hire them for 40 hours a week, 20 hours a week? Can I just have them do one video for me? Can I have them just do videos? Like how do I do all those things? Right? Like that's one of the biggest stoppers where people stop.
Yeah. Like Billy just put it in the comments. Billy P from Billytown. I was going to say from Billytown, from B-Town. She says she has the money. She wants to pay somebody, but doesn't know exactly what we're saying. So there's 2 different ways. You can pay by task, which means I want to hire you to do these things for me. Because if you identify like putting in a listing, that's a task, right? Posting to social media, that's a task. Editing one video, That's a task, like figuring out those. So now you're not committed to a block of 40 hours like we used to. Back in the day, you hire an assistant, like you got to post it, you got to interview, you got to bring them in, then you got to train them, and then you realize they're not good and you have to fire them. So you have all these, right? You have all this time invested and money, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if you factor in your time. Now it's like, okay, it's going to cost me $75 to figure out I don't like the way she puts in the listing. And that can still be refined, because you may go, if somebody can do something, it's 80% as good as you, then you should delegate it. No doubt. Right?
Agreed. Right. Like, yes, I think that's where's my sound effects controls?
Oh, yeah. Tell me what you want. Here, cash register. I'll give you that. That's yours.
Oh, that's a
Right
good
there.
one.
Yeah.
No, I think like that is so key, right? Like that's yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Oh, no, I was giving you some time to shine, girl. Go ahead. Keep going. Here, wait. Here's Sabrina's.
All my life, been grinding all my life.
That's all we could do. Because
Oh,
then
get ready.
we'll get copyright, 5 seconds or less now. So
Yeah,
task versus hour. But let's
yeah.
say if somebody is realizing that they need hourly, that's also available, right? But it's typically buckets of time is what you buy. 10, 20, 40 is kind of like a VA industry standard, right?
And I actually think that that's even better to do it that way versus task, because again, like we were saying earlier, if you hire somebody for 10 hours a week, like, these buckets of time, you're going to figure out other things that they can be doing for you to build your business in that amount of time because you already have them, right? Versus, oh, okay, here's one more task. You build it in, you know how much it's going to cost you per week or per month, and you build that into your business model versus, oh, here's another task. And then because every time you would hire them for another task, you're going to weigh the task in your head. And that's too much thinking. It's too many stalling opportunities. So
Right.
just have them for the week or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if it costs me a couple $100 to have somebody for 20 hours or a few $100, whatever it is, it's still less than it would have been years ago, right? If it costs you a few hundred, like the same agent that's complaining about paying a virtual assistant is probably paying $500 or $1,000 to Zillow, and not even,
I was
right?
say
Not
that.
even
So
like
funny. I
blink.
was going to say that. How much are you paying for referrals and lead generation? Like, or even just one referral from, a Chicago agent, and you're in, and you're paying me 25%, right? Of, whatever, because I just referred you a person, when you could spend that same amount of money, that 25% for this one referral, to build up your whole entire career. Like, I don't know.
Right. Let's use that same example. That same person went to my town, landed on that location-based new to Chicagoland page, said, I'm moving. So before even they contacted you for the referral, I already have them in my Facebook group because I'm diligently posting. I'm not, my VA is, and the lead comes to me. So now you saved whatever that might be, thousands of dollars.
Right.
Well,
All
I'm going
right.
to
Well,
put,
I think everybody knows that they want and need a VA. I think it's like, again, how do you find them? I think is and how do you know, like, how do you know that they're going to do a good job and all of those things, right? I think that's always kind of the like eek.
well, I put a link in the comments for you all. We'll put it in the description as well. It's a landing page. We're going to create a guide because now that I was just saying this, so I just copy and pasted a
Yeah.
landing page for you. We're going to create a guide for you to help you. But what I've used in the past, it's a non-opinionated third party. It's called virtualassistant.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. They will evaluate all these companies. But what I would say is, come to your experts first, or ask somebody in your market, or ask somebody in your office. It is a worldwide web, so there's a lot out there. And so it's like, yes, you can hire through like Upwork, but then you don't know the person. I think regardless of where you find the person, and it could be somebody who's virtual that lives in your town. Um, like give them something, test them on something in the beginning. I think that's how uh, NJ, who's my virtual assistant, if you're watching, hi NJ. You know, that at first she contacted me and I was like, all right, here's a video. I gave her like a 30-minute video and I said, make me a short. Look at the videos I've already posted. Like that was her interview, more or less. Look at the videos I've already posted and create one like it, similar style.
Yeah.
Next day, she sent it to me. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Right. And if she didn't do well, I mean, she's awesome. But if she didn't do well, then you would then move on to the next person. So there is some upfront time, like we talked about, to get this up and rolling. But then, I mean, how much time does NJ save you now? I mean,
oh,
how much time?
thousands of hours so far.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just the time, but it's also the production that she created. Because now, like my consistency of posting, it's tripled, right? Because like I would be like, yeah, I'm posting a lot, and then I'm like, okay, I got three conferences this week. And I forget to post because I'm in the business. I'm in it rather than on it, you know. I'll make videos at the conference, videos of myself, some selfies here. I send them all to NJ. Make something cool. Boop, she does it, and I'm like, oh, that was awesome. We did that together. Like I'm the face. I record. Like you still got to record the assets to do the work. But I think maybe let's help them with that, like how to train the virtual assistant. Because I have a few ways, and I'm wondering how would you train somebody who's not right there in the office with you? Because I think that's hard for some people to get their head around. Like they're not here. I can't be over their shoulder. Going like that. That's my micromanaging face.
I can see it. You know, it's interesting, especially for some of us that, you know, grew up always not having virtual stuff and started our businesses without, because as a realtor, my first assistant was in person. She sat in the desk right next to me, right?
Yeah,
And she could
same.
ask me questions. I could look over her shoulder. I could do all those things. And now the whole world is more virtual. I mean, we also weren't doing, you know, shows like we're doing right now. So that's part of just adapting to technology. But I think that training them, like we've kind of said, I'll just maybe kind of recap a lot of the stuff that we've already said. I think that really having them understand what your brand is and who your brand personality is, understanding the types of information that you're looking to give out, right? So what, you know, maybe you're a realtor that really focuses on a local area and you want to highlight the local area. Let them know that that's your goal. Your goal is to highlight the local area. Maybe you're somebody that wants to give, you know, a lot of tips and tricks on how to buy and sell real estate. Let them know that that's your goal. And then provide those types of like scripts and outlines, which you can easily create in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I say that though, and don't just plug some crap in there and let something comes out. Your prompt has to be key. Like you really have to give it the information, then it will write out, you know, the things that you want out of it. You can watch, I'm sure JMan, I'm sure you have plenty of videos on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you go on YouTube and find, like, there's so many prompt trainings, but provide those things. Create a Google folder, something that you can, or a Dropbox or
Some way to
iCloud, whatever,
collaborate. Yeah.
that you can collaborate with them, that they have something to start with, and then try them out. Like you said, they're not, most assistants, virtual assistants, aren't going to get it immediately, but I guarantee you, I can't guarantee it, but I would, I think, or I know
I
through
believe.
experience,
I believe.
I believe, thank you. I believe that even the first couple of times that won't be exactly where you want it, it'll still be 80% of what you want. So use it and post it, because most likely it's going to
Yeah.
be good enough. And then they're only going to learn from you. So the more they do, the better they're going to be. The more they're going to understand. They're going to almost become you in a different kind of way. But so I think the training of them just takes some time, and to have a little bit of patience and grace with the process. But it happens. I mean, it happens pretty quickly. Like it happens pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, and so many good things you said there, like getting them involved with like knowing your brand, knowing who your ideal client is, right? Maybe they know that you're in real estate and they're just trying to attract buyers, but you don't
Right.
do first-time home buyers. Maybe you specialize in the move-up buyer, luxury home, first-time sellers. Like that's very specific, right? They're selling their first home, and then they're going to go. So they've never sold before in their life. It's a different education process than somebody that's sold multiple times, or working with a senior, or working with military, or working with, like identifying your client, because the content that's created attracts your clients. So start with your clients first and your brand, voice, and personality. But what I always like to tell agents is we have so much technology at our disposal here. You can screen record, okay? And we have one, look at what it's called, Screencast-O-Matic is a Chrome extension.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that work on
Yes.
Safari too? Okay.
It does.
It does. We had a discussion about Chrome versus Safari earlier. But Screencast-O-Matic, and I pay for the upgrade. It's not a lot because it automatically syncs to Google Drive. And so now if I want to train a virtual assistant on everything I do, let's say it's putting in a listing. Let's say it's researching for a CMA. Let's say it's doing an RPR report. I would go through my normal process, but now I would voice over everything that I'm doing and the mindset behind it. Like usually when I search for comps, I do plus or minus 20%. And if I can't find enough comps, then I'll go outside the 5-mile radius that I usually do. Like explain it all with a voiceover and record your screen.
While you're doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You're doing it anyway, right?
Yeah, while you're doing. So now this is like a system. Now you're creating a handbook, okay? A manual for your business, okay? This is where it gets really, I get excited about this because then you can send it to somebody on Fiverr that you don't have. Let's say you don't have a VA yet, or you're working with a brand new one. Send it to somebody on Fiverr to just transcribe the entire video, or there's also, AI stuff that could do that for you. But you have them transcribe it all. Now you have written word and a video. You create a digital manual for your business. Here's how we put in a listing. Here's how we do CMAs. Here's how we write an offer. Here's how. So now, I find the issues that agents have is they don't train, right? You can't blame the untrained or not properly trained assistant because they talked at them and said, what do you mean you didn't get it? And maybe they're not auditory listeners or auditory learners. They're more visual. They have to see it. Like, I can't hear you. I want to watch the video and see it demonstrated. And then the kinesthetic person wants to open the book and go, let me see this again and go through everything that I'm talking about here. So I think that would be the last greatest step. And again, we've put it in I'm going like this, like the comments are there. Wherever you see the comments, there's a link to a landing page. Sabrina and I are going to put together a comprehensive guide for you to get started. But the moral of the story is get started.
Start the journaling. I think that's the first thing to do. Like starting today, it's early in the morning, start today, even put this that you've spent, an hour listening to this, like do all the things and journal. I know I'm going to, because I need to reevaluate, because I'm sure there's some things I can start doing differently as well. And we can always continue to be more efficient, right?
Yeah, I think, progress, not perfection. When you look at this in your schedule, then it's like JMan's ATEAM every week. Star it 3 times because you're getting educated for free here. I'm not a coach. I'm not trying to sell you on coaching. I'm just trying to here to make your life better. And so, Sabrina, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything you want to say in closing? Give you some closing music. What do we got?
I just wish I could start my morning with you every morning, not just on Fridays. So maybe at some point, or just a morning, you could just be a morning show host for us.
Right? That would be awesome. Here, I'm going to give you, let's do the power. Let's see what this one is. There we go. It's going to hit hard. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to ATEAM Fridays with Sabrina Bier. Follow her at Sabrina Bier on Instagram. Make it a great day.